All right, let's talk about something sweet, sticky, and, well, a little wrinkly. The humble date. We've all heard it called nature's candy, but is that just a clever marketing trick? Is it really a healthy snack, or is it just a sugar bomb in disguise? That really is the big question, isn't it? You bite into one and it's like this explosion of caramel and honey. Your first thought is, there's no way this is actually good for me. So are dates a true superfood, or just a candy bar that happens to grow on a tree? Let's get into it.
But before we even touch the nutrition, you have to appreciate the history here. I mean, this is not some new health fad. Fossil records show date palms have been around for 50 million years. We, as humans, started farming them way back in 4000 BC. They were a staple for ancient Egyptians and Mesopotamians. They even made wine out of them. So, yeah, they've been fueling humanity for a very, very long time.
Okay, history lesson is over. Now it's time to tackle the real reason you're here, the #1 concern everyone has when it comes to dates, the sugar.
So let's just rip the Band-Aid off. How much sugar are we really talking about here? Let's look at the cold, hard numbers. Get this, a single medjool date, just one, has about 16 grams of sugar. And I know, that sounds like a lot. To put it in perspective, that's almost half the sugar in a can of soda. But wait, don't click away. There is a huge plot twist here.
And here it is, the secret weapon, fiber. That sugar doesn't show up to the party alone. It brings along soluble fiber. And this is the magic ingredient that changes everything. It basically acts like a traffic cop for the sugar, telling it to slow down in your digestive system.
So think about it like this. The sugar from a candy bar hits your system like a freight train. You get that massive energy spike, and then the inevitable, awful crash. But with the date, that fiber creates this slow, sustained release of energy. No spike, no crash. Plus, you're getting all these amazing minerals, not just a bunch of empty calories. It's a completely different experience for your body.
And honestly, we're just scratching the surface. It's not just about managing the sugar. Dates are hiding so much more goodness inside. They are absolute nutrient powerhouses.
Okay, quick question. When you think of potassium, what's the first fruit that pops into your head? It's a banana, right? Everybody says banana. Well, you might want to sit down for this next one.
Yep, you're seeing that right. Gram for gram, dates actually have more potassium than bananas. That's incredible. It makes them fantastic for balancing your electrolytes, especially if you've just had a tough workout.
And it doesn't stop there. They are loaded with magnesium, which is so important for muscle function and helping you relax. And get this, they have the highest concentration of antioxidants of any popular dried fruit. We're talking flavonoids and carotenoids that help your body fight inflammation.
And while we're on the topic of dried fruits, let's clear up a huge misconception. You know those big, juicy medjool dates you buy? They're not actually a dried fruit like a raisin or a prune is. They're technically a fresh fruit. They just lose some of their moisture naturally while they're ripening on the tree. No machines involved.
Okay, so we know they're full of good stuff. But what does that all mean for your body? Well, this is where the science gets really fascinating, with some pretty wild benefits for everyone from elite athletes to expecting moms. For any athletes out there, listen up. That amazing sugar and fiber team gives dates a low to medium glycemic index. What that means is sustained energy. In fact, a lot of ultra runners now prefer stuffing a few dates in their pack instead of those sugary processed gel packets because they deliver all the fuel without the stomach problem. And the benefits aren't just physical. Those antioxidants we talked about? Well, animal studies suggest they might help lower inflammatory markers in the brain, things that are linked to a higher risk of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. So yeah, they are definitely brain food. But now we get to what is, I think, the most unbelievable finding of them all. This is something that sounds like a total old wives' tale, but it's actually backed up by scientific research.
So check this out. A study found that pregnant women who ate about 6 dates a day for the last 4 weeks of their pregnancy had some pretty incredible results. They were significantly less likely to need a medical induction, and on average, their first stage of labor was shorter. Pretty amazing, right?
So, how on earth is a fruit doing that? The main theory is that certain compounds in the dates actually mimic the hormone oxytocin. That's the one responsible for labor contractions. So in a way, they're helping to naturally prime the body for the big day. It's absolutely wild.
Okay, so you're sold. You get it. Dates are an ancient superfruit. But now what? How do you actually start eating them without, just chewing on a sticky fruit all day? Let's talk about some simple, delicious ways to use them.
All right.
The #1 hack you need in your kitchen is date paste. This stuff is a total game changer. It is so easy. You just soak some pitted dates in hot water for about 10 minutes, then blend them up until they're smooth. You're left with this rich, caramel-like paste that you can use instead of sugar in almost anything. Oatmeal, baking, even salad dressings.
But you don't have to stop there. For an unbelievable appetizer, stuff them with a little goat cheese and wrap them in bacon. For a super fast and healthy snack, just blend them with some nuts and cocoa powder to make your own energy balls. Or, my personal favorite, just throw 1 or 2 into your morning smoothie to sweeten it up naturally. So, let's bring it all home. The verdict is in. Dates are so much more than just a sugary fruit. That fiber is the real hero, turning them into a source of slow, sustained energy. They are a true nutrient powerhouse, packed with potassium and antioxidants, and they've got some serious science backing up their benefits.
So in the end, nature's candy is actually the perfect name for them. It's candy, but with real benefits. Now, the one thing to remember is that they are very nutrient and calorie dense, so a serving of 2 or 3 is really the sweet spot. So now that you know the real story, what's the first thing you're going to make?